so used to watching and seeing people and their voices and their characters, and this is reality. We're looking at you here at Reasonably Sure, as we are. But our guest today is someone whose voice we've heard now for quite a long time, many years of entertaining us with his voice. Pat Fraley, thanks for being on Reasonably Sure today.
Well, it's my pleasure.
See, I mean, in a second you did it.
You keep telling me about the good life, Michael, because it makes me want to puke.
See that? But I mean, here's the thing. What you just did, Pat, you went. It would take, first of all, it would take people a lifetime to learn how to do just one, probably. But to do it in a moment and then switch back and forth, is that a big part of what you have to do as a voice actor?
You need one major skill, and that's not being too bright. And I've got that.
You went to Cornell. You can't put that by me.
Oh, you know, I tap danced through.
All right. Okay,
all my skills come from my parents. I mean, as I gotten older, I realized, gee, let's see. My mom was funny and gifted. My dad had a work ethic. I'm tall and reasonably good looking and white. So it's all that.
It was all
the rest
there.
was jumping in the deep end in a pool, getting on the shell, and going to another pool. I can't take any credit.
But well, you can, because you've done it, and we'll get to what you have done. But let's talk about the genesis of the voice actor. Is there a point that you remember, sort of day one of, hey, I like this. I have a good voice. I'm in the shower and I'm imitating, or I'm fantasizing about what I'm going to be the big boss, or I'm going to be the, Is there a moment you remember?
No,
really
didn't happen.
Yeah.
When I was 4 years old, I was the kid that was performing, Army and dying really good, so they wanted to shoot me. And also after I died, I'd say, okay, if you want to die good, you arch your back and foam a little right here. So I was teaching and acting at 4. 45 years ago, they started paying me. And at a certain point, I was in Australia doing Shakespeare. And I went to a studio and did a little commercial, paid much better than theater. And I was walking out, and the producer went, "Oh, we like you." I went, "Really? Why?" And they said, "Oh, because you're so big, we can't get the other actors to be that big." And I went, "Okay, there it is. I don't care. I want to be a performer." And so within about 2 years, I was back in the States. I was in Australia at the time.
Yeah.
At Hanna-Barbera doing cartoons.
Right.
So it's really a facility to do characters.
So I can do a character.
I can go into the Blind Lemon William. I can go into all these characters.
At a graffiti. I went to Trinity. I'll kill you later.
I can go into them with facility because I've always had a ability to commit to whatever.
And do you have a repertoire? I mean, are these voices that you go to familiar ones, or is there?
Yes.
So you're not constantly coming up with a new friend, right?
No.
Yeah.
I learned when I came to Los Angeles and started working with Dawes Butler, Don Messick, June Foray, all these luminaries.
Tell the audience more specifically about these people. I mean, because we don't all know who these are. And Hanna-Barbera, of course, has this storied history. I knew it first from the Flintstones, but it was much more than that. I knew it the Jetsons as well.
I was the bird they strapped to the phonograph in Flintstones.
Were you really?
I'm going to talk to my union about this.
So I got in the tail end. I will, Michael. Dawes Butler was the greatest character actor of all time.
Right.
Mel Blanc, who I worked with, was more dynamic. Dawes Butler was a better actor. He did Huckleberry Hound. He did Yogi Bear.
Right.
He did Elroy. When he was 70,
Elroy Jetson.
He was doing the little kid.
Wow.
And he'd had a stroke, and I said, "Dawes, how do you do that?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, everything's new." Like, "Gee, Dad, where's Astro?" Like he's never been there before.
Right.
And so he was excellent. Don Messick played Scooby-Doo, and back in the day, in the late 50s, when Hanna-Barbera created shows for kids, first time it ever happened. I was like 9 years old or 8 years old.
And let me interrupt. Some of these shows were primetime animated shows.
The Jetsons and Flintstones were both primetime.
Yeah.
So those guys were the voices, and they'd call in a woman like June Foray or Joni Gerber.
Okay.
They'd call them in. But they were it. So cut to me, 30 years old, I come to the studio and I hear Dawes Butler and Don Messick, and I'm shocked.
Amazing.
Just shocked.
And you talked about Mel Blanc. We know him because of so many of the Warner Brothers cartoons. He also played Barney Rubble on
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and you're talking about performers. If you tell a man on the street, an actor, they're going to think of somebody sort of, before an
Brad
audience
Pitt.
or on a Brad Pitt or something. But this is performing, isn't it?
Well, it's all performing.
Yeah.
Here's performance versus narrating or something else. Performing is giving the impression that you are not using script or text.
Well,
On
great.
camera, video
Right.
games, animation, you don't think they're reading.
Right.
Even audiobooks.
And that's amazing. And now there are all these outlets for that. And I want to talk about that a little bit, that there's so much work for people who do what you do. But let's talk, is there a comeuppance for an actor, an aspiring actor who's in Australia doing Hamlet, and then they say, well, we don't really love you for Hamlet, but but you've got a great voice.
Oh, I used to weep. I'd be sitting there going, let's see, Master of Fine Arts, Cornell. Now I'm Dinky the Duck.
And Dinky the Duck, though, was paying the rent, right?
Yeah, when you get into commerce,
Yeah.
you find that it takes the edge off being occupied.
Right. I see. Your first role, do you remember what it was when you came back from Australia? Do you remember the very first voice you did?
Yeah, I did. I was in a show called Scooby-Doo Goes Hollywood, and Variety reviewed it Scooby-Doo Doo-Doo. And I was a rat dog. I was a James Cagney rat dog. Mm-hmm. And a couple other voices, just a guest.
Right. And that's pretty cool. And when you left that gig, do you remember what it felt like?
Well, I think Frank Welker, who was a luminary,
Yeah.
mentioned, hey, why don't you stick around? I love your voice, so why don't you go to the Comedy Store with me? And it made me feel so good.
Yeah.
Because I was the only guy there with a tie.
Right.
I didn't fit in.
Well, it's good to have your own voice here on Reasonably Sure. We're really, really happy to have you on the show.
Well, I'm so pleased to be here.
All right, and we'll have people check out patfraley.com. If you want to train like this at home, or if you want to show up for a weekend with 9 other people to learn from Pat and what to do with your voice, I learned that I have great placement today,
You certainly do.
which I have to tell my mom. Thanks for watching.